Hello and welcome along to another episode of this FM22 story, The Head Coach, with me, Daniel. We're back today for part 50 and we're bringing up the half century in some sort of style. And that style is not being able to score, desperately missing Arian Kalantari, and also desperately missing the man we're going to be reunited with in the opposition today, John Lestrange. A couple of you asked in the comments, make sure the Fulham game's part of it so we can see him. Well, we're going to do just that. Hopefully he won't come back to haunt us. Fulham really struggling, but so are we in recent weeks. The goals have dried up. You can see Muse and Ilic, the two only natural striking options we have, both unavailable. And we haven't won a game for quite some time. So if you're looking forward to finding out how we get on today and see what might be happening off the pitch that can turn on the start at the half century point, please do put a thumbs up on it. Subscribe down below for daily FM22 content from two long-term stories. I hope you enjoyed all the FA Cup stuff over on the podcast channel and here over the weekend. Got to see another shock 3 out of 3 with Boreham Wood against AFC Wimbledon. Hopefully more for non-league sides in the fourth round, unless they're playing Luton Town. But we have got a lot to focus on today. You can find anything you might have missed in the eye above, including the Twitch channel for regular live streams, the podcast channel as we mentioned. But let's have a look at what's been happening on the pitch, because since you were with me on transfer deadline day, it has been disastrous, I think is the fair word. We haven't won a game. We've been held in games where we've utterly dominated, because where we had Kalantari scoring 2 last year or Lestrange getting 1 off the bench, we haven't had that, and with Muse a little bit out of form, we haven't got solutions. It is a big problem for us. So you were with me as we battered Borough, looked fantastic, had deadline day. We did obviously have the issues with Mac Thompson being unhappy off the pitch because we didn't accept a bid from West Brom. Jez George chose to reject that one. He has literally just ended his unhappiness during the international break, so I'm hoping that might spark some sort of revival today, but I have no idea what the front three is going to be. We drew 1-1 against Hull City. Max Thompson did still score the goal, but otherwise we were pretty useless and conceded a late one. Home to Luton Town, Lawrence Shankland, former hero from Dundee United in last year's live streams. He got the opener. Max Thompson again levelled up. Away at Stoke, I'm pretty sure you can guess who scored one of the goals. Ryan Giles got the other. Abdullah Sima went there permanently this year in this game. What a player he is. I'd love to have a striker or a winger like that at this club. We lost that one. We drew at home to Norwich. Shalabar the first half goal, but it was cancelled out. And then away at Blackburn, a 2-0 defeat. And I thought I'd pick out one, but just to give you an indicator of how we're struggling. Look at the stats. Compare that to last season where Kalantari was here, where Lestrange was here. And look now, Muse got a 6.1. He now got injured since then as well. Thompson has finally ended his unhappiness, but wasn't playing that well. And in midfield, we're a little bit short of attacking quality. We've got 3 midfielders who are very good defensively. But we've perhaps lost a little bit of that edge going forward. The defence is a year older. The fullbacks are a year older too. And that's stopping them getting up the line quite as much. It is a big concern. Fulham and Nottingham Forest today, 2 big sides on paper. Fulham, we mentioned, were struggling a little bit in the bottom half. Forest very much the opposite, up in 4th place. And then in the next episode, we'll be coming up against our former club, Sheffield Wednesday perhaps, who are in 19th. But they're a side that may be looking to catch us too. So on the pitch, some concerns. And I think it's basically what we said on deadline day. If we don't get an attacking player, we're 1 injury, we're 1 concern, we're 1 unhappy player away from not having a top half side and being stuck in this sort of mid-table position. We will pick up enough draws. We will get the odd win still. But I don't think we're going to be able to do enough to compete for the playoffs. And that's the sad reality of losing 2 attacking stars. Let's have a look, though, at something that may change our fortunes. Because, remarkably, despite the situation we're in, despite the fact we hadn't won in 4 games at the time, because this was before Blackburn, we have been offered, by the board, a brand new deal. Now, we were here. We accepted the contract on $7,500 a week to join from Sheffield Wednesday. We have now signed a deal for almost double that, $13,500 a week and a 2-year extension. Now, my thought process at the time was this is going to make it very hard for Bristol City to sack us. And if they do, we're looking at a sort of $600,000-700,000 a year contract. We're going to get a good $1.5 million, $2 million in compensation, which we've got to look at the realism side too. So that was really pleasing. But it's been followed by a bizarre situation. Now, you'll know what is happening here because it says we're wanted. Why on earth are we wanted? We haven't applied for jobs. Well, because we are back the day before a game with an interview offer from a Premier League side. Crystal Palace have come in for us, a very good side, fairly local again, easy to get to from Luton as a home base, but they're 20th in the Premier League. Now, they've got some very good players at the club, they've not got the strongest squad, but the Premier League's pretty weak near the bottom. They're still only 5 points from safety and there's only 7 games gone. There's a lot of time to recover. However, the squad is thin on the ground. They've got a couple of very good FM players. Chris Mepham is always an absolute superstar. He's a very good one there. They've got the likes of Tyrese Campbell. Grabara, the keeper's excellent. They've got Tyreek Mitchell, who's developed to full strength too. But there is a little doubt about whether they're a Premier League side. But with the goals just starting to dry up here, with things just starting to go wrong, it's a very interesting option that we've been offered this job interview. Towards the end of an international break as well, which I found really bizarre. If we go and attend it, we've got to consider it because it's a Premier League move and the wages are going to be astronomical. The fact they've come in for us 2 weeks after signing a new deal has to be a positive sign. We must be a man they really want. Let's attend it and see what happens. So into the interview we go. No sign of Steve Parish there, so there's definitely been a change of board at Palace, but we're pleased to get started. Some people might be inclined to say you're taking something of a risk, leaving a safe job. Yeah, but I want to have the opportunity. This is a great chance to work my way up the managerial ladder. You've developed a reputation for applying for other jobs while still employed. I think the Bristol City job was the last one I applied for. I haven't applied for one since I was here and they've come and approached me. I don't really understand that. Well, I'll say the same because I'm pretty happy as long as you give me a good squad. We want to ensure the dressing room atmosphere was better. Well, I know I can do that. We don't want a repeat of our last manager, who we had to part company with very early. If I came here, I'd want to stay for a long while. Or I've got proven track record. I can't say that anymore, not after the last two. The last two have been short ones. But we did spend 3 years at Keffe and Druids, 2 years at Dover, and we've been here a year and weren't looking to leave, but I'd want to stay for a long time. Dougie Friedman is still director of football. His stats are pretty decent. I'm happy to work with him. I don't need to make changes to the staffing because you guys are going to be doing that stuff. Do we have any thoughts on the long-term vision? Develop youth players, play counter-attacking football, fight bravely against relegation, work within the wage budget. I mean, I don't think there's much wrong with that, to be honest. It seems very realistic. We're going to battle against relegation. I'm going to say I expect we should avoid it. Let's go for that. In terms of the transfer budget, 8.4 million. I think that's absolutely fine. Wage budget, £1.8 million a week. That is just a different stratosphere to the Championship and what we've been working with. I'm happy with it. We'll go along with it. Do we have any requests? No, I don't. Thank you for attending the interview. Now, the issue with this... we'll come back to that because we have got an immediate news item. We're set to take over at Crystal Palace following interview. It doesn't seem to have a significant impact. But I think the thing is, they've approached us despite us signing a new deal. They must want us. I'm really intrigued by this. Now, what I was going to say is we have got 2 games in 3 days in this episode. And that's going to make things very difficult. We were thinking about showing perhaps the Derby one because of course we're managing them on Twitch. But what I'd quite like is to have a send-off with a comeback victory against Fulham. And then maybe get offered the new job on Monday morning. We'll see if that works out in this episode. If not, it could be a very long one. Let's go and get ahead to tomorrow. Fulham away at the Cottage. Then maybe we can stay in London for Monday morning ahead of, hopefully, an announcement as a Premier League manager. It seems to be going well. I feel like with the situation we're in, we've probably got to take advantage of this opportunity. Because Bristol City, with the transfer window they had, and with the players they've got and the budget they've got, they're probably a club on a down. And we're leaving them in a really good position. Well, it's game time, and this is what our life at Bristol City has become about this year. Who's fit, who's available, and have we got any attacking players? We go away to a side that are struggling, but have signed massive players, including £18 million John Lestrange from us. He's been starting up front for them as part of a front two. Only scored 2 goals in his 9 games though, so perhaps not in the same form he was for us. Having said that, we could have done with him today because we're running very short on the ground when it comes to attacking options. If we have a look at the squad, we're going to have to bring Greenwood in because we're missing Lys Mousset for this one. Ilic, who was the sub-striker, is injured, so Jez Porter's onto the bench. But we really don't have any attacking depth at all. We've got 5 defenders and defensive-minded midfielders on the bench. Joe Rothwell is a slightly more attacking central midfielder, and then Porter is the only one who really naturally covers the front three roles. Those in the under-18 squad aren't quite strong enough, and we're reliant on either Greenwood finding form in the league, or Thompson being back to his best now he's ended his unhappiness. He is still wanted by a couple of clubs, Crystal Palace being one of them. That could be an interesting situation if we end up going there. But for now, I can't change much else in the squad because we've been playing pretty well largely. We're just not quite as big a side when it comes to set pieces, and we've certainly not got the same attacking threat. So our 11 for today is Griffiths in goal, Darboe and Bryan the fullbacks with Atkinson and Muller at centre-half, Amos, Williams and Chalobah at the midfield three, Thompson, Giles and Greenwood the front three. Now let's go and get into it. Away to Fulham at Craven Cottage. But will it be our last game in charge of the Robins? Let's go and find out. Well, the only important news in our team is one change, Greenwood in up front. In the Fulham side though, they've got the 2-star young players that they've signed 2 years in a row. So Armstrong, the centre-half, is the one with that sell-on clause that they bought last summer. Lestrange, the one they bought this summer. The likes of Rashika and Cantwell from Norwich in between two. Ben Johnson, former West Ham United player, he's the captain for the side. Then on the bench, you've got the likes of Will Hughes, Dembele from Celtic, Reece Norrington Davis, Welsh international. It's a very interesting squad. I'm not quite sure how it's below us in the Championship. Either we're doing a very good job or they're doing a very bad one. Based on the pre-season predictions, probably a bit more the latter. Well, half an hour gone, Fulham have absolutely dominated the stats, but we've seen no highlights, which would suggest all those shots on target haven't led to anything. As Atkinson picks it up in the middle for Williams to Chalobah. Can we catch them out on the counter? We do tend to produce our best performances on camera. 2 of our 3 wins this season have been on it. And Max Thompson, puts the ball in there. Sam Greenwood with a bullet header into the bottom corner. I'm so surprised we've scored. I've completely forgotten all the names. Sam Greenwood into the team making a difference. And now we've got a corner kick. Can we make it 2? We seem to be saving our best performances for you this season. 4 against Borough, the opening day at Leeds. But we're in trouble here. They've attacked from our own corner. Rashika down the right. We had 2 back, but they've not done anything. Lestrange is in. It's a good save from Griffiths. Probably knew where he was going from last year's training. But it's still 1-0 to Bristol City. And we are turning up for the big game. And if it is to be our final one, we'd love to win it. Because this club, regardless of whether we're here another year or another 2 days, have been absolutely brilliant for us. The run we had last season, the players we had, the fact they've given us a coaching course as well. And we just had some of our best memories as we get it on the edge of the box. We lose out though, and it's cleared downfield as far as Darboe to Chalobah, former Fulham player. Williams again to him, to Greenwood, through to Williams. This is one hell of a turn up, and that is definitely a penalty. Brought down from behind. Is that not a yellow card or a red card? I mean, he might have said he had an attempt at the ball, but he got nowhere near it. And it was definitely a goal-scoring opportunity. As Greenwood misses the penalty kick, he's the best taker at the club. But he's not delivered today. And now, a game that could have been beyond doubt after a pretty poor first half performance is one that may yet get away. What I love is on the stats we're getting pasted. It's the first time that's happened this season. And remarkably, it's one of the few games we look like getting a victory in. You can't explain football sometimes. At half-time, 1-0 Bristol City. But is that penalty miss going to be crucial? Let's get into the second half and find out. It's a big 45 minutes for our football club, particularly if we're going to be here for the long haul. As Muller brings it out from the back. Wouldn't mind a second from the kickoff. Darboe to Thompson. Again, not had the best game, but he is going down the right. Back to Darboe again. 2 options in the middle if he can find them. Williams is one the skipper. He's been brilliant. Greenwood to Giles. Ryan Giles is in. That's a lovely goal. 27 seconds gone in the second half. We play straight out from the back from the kickoff. And Fulham yet to have a touch in the first half. The first one is the keeper picking the ball out the net. 2-0 on the road against Fulham, one of the promotion favourites pre-season. And John Lestrange, is he regretting that £18 million move now? I'd like to think he is. As Thompson on the right again to Darboe, to Williams, to Muller. Lovely football. We seem to be growing into this. Williams has been a star. He finds Giles again. Oh, Fulham are disintegrating at the back. Great save by the keeper. The defence is all over the shop. And we look like we may be able to take advantage here. Can it be the game where we take our chances? Not with corners like that. Okoye can handle that easily. And it remains 2-0. 10 gone in the second half. But as we approach the hour mark, Will Hughes is on and he gets the ball from a throw in there. Ogbeta on the left-hand side to Cantwell. Cross is blocked. It goes back to Oliveri. And he does really well to beat the challenger Greenwood. Armstrong, another former Bristol City youth player, to Johnson, to Rashika. Back to Oliveri. We're holding them at arm's length, but they've got so many good runners. Rashika's one of them here, and he hits the woodwork. They probably should have scored. He's out for a goal kick. We get a little bit lucky. But we've earned that. We've had 3 or 4 we've dominated and not got the result. This one could be one where it levels out a little, as we've got a throw in by the corner flag with Joe Bryan, another former Fulham man. Chance to get the cross in, but goes back to Shalabar. Into the back post to Max Thompson. Oh, we're going to have to start playing every game on here if we stay, because we're only scoring goals when you lot are watching. We have got 15 minutes to go. We've got to protect legs. Muller is absolutely knackered, so Rakic will come on for him. We've got the same with Ryan Giles on the left wing, so the youngster Jez Porter can have a run out. And then in midfield, everyone's playing well. So let's just do Brian for Vokins at left back. He's been the worst player on the pitch. He's a little bit older. We've got another game in 3 days. And whether it's us in charge or not, we want them to be in good shape. You've got to say today as well, 11 shots, 9 of them on target. We've been incredibly ruthless and clinical in front of goal. Something you can't say about us most of this season. As Cantwell chips in a free kick. It's a late consolation. It's gone. Oh, the flag's up. Was that offside? I'm not sure. I was about to say the clean sheet has been ruined, but it has not. 1 minute of stoppage time to go, and it could yet be sublime as Atkinson gives it to Vokins. Plays out from the back with Shalabar. It's pretty poor. I was going to say, do you want to make it 4 again? Give us the same as the Middlesbrough game. I think we'll take 3. We're pretty happy with that. Girardin, who scored that offside goal, to Dembele, another sub. Big switch of play to Cantwell. Darboe nicks it. Sublime defending. Gets himself down the right-hand side. Got options in support, but it's a good bit of work from Cantwell. Gets back to concede the throw. And that should be just about it. We've got 15 seconds left. We're playing wonderful stuff. And Fulham just look like they want it to end. Williams plays a 1-2 with Darboe. Into Jez Porter. The youngster scores. It is 4-0 again. 2 4-0 wins in a row on camera. Nothing in between, apart from 1-1 draws and defeats. Oh, this is a funny game sometimes. Fulham 0, Bristol City 4. The only 2 natural strikers at the club out injured. And we suddenly deliver our most ruthless display. Explain that if you will. Well, how on earth was that for a prophecy? We are back on Monday morning. Training facilities upgraded, which shows the other part of what we've been trying to achieve at Bristol City. Getting them in store off the pitch. They're in 11th place. They're looking solid. They're a good championship club. But our reunion with Sheffield Wednesday is not going to be coming in the next episode. And our game with Forest is not going to be coming in this one. Because we have got a job offer from Crystal Palace. Look at the wage. Look at the wage budget. Look at everything. It is a completely different stratosphere again. We've just doubled our wage to £13,500 a week, which once you get beyond 10 grand a week, in my opinion, it doesn't really matter what the financial reward is, because we're talking about a job where you've paid off a house within a year anyway. Even if Bristol City sacked us tomorrow and we didn't work again, you'd be set for life. However, here, we have got a great opportunity to manage in the Premier League. We're replacing Pepe Reina, who has been sacked by Crystal Palace, and he's got brilliantly surprising stats. Let's have a look at their managerial history, actually, because we do have to factor some of this stuff in. Patrick Vieira lasted till 2024, so he did all right, and then he left the role. Where did he choose to go then? He is now at Algeria, but he left for Southampton, which is where it went wrong for him. Ralph Hasenhüttl then replaced him, which is even weirder. But if you take away the Pepe Reina situation, they are 2 managers in just under 6 years. They are going to give a manager time. Hasenhüttl won the championship, so they must have gone down at some point, as did Vieira actually. So they've had relegations and promotions each. They've become a yo-yo club, which is a concern. And the Premier League table doesn't look great. There's another point between them and safety now, 6 points behind. But there are some pretty decent players in this squad that I feel we can get right. I recognise Teo. We had him with Ireland, didn't we? In 2020, I think, in the head coach. He is out for 2 to 4 weeks. He got injured on Irish international duty. They've got Dele Alli, who's out injured for 7 months, so he's not going to be part of our plans. And they've got an absolutely wonderful centre midfielder, a 21-year-old French youth international who's scoring goals galore for them, who's wanted by big clubs. I don't feel we can turn this down. It's over doubling the wage. It's a massive opportunity. And after all, it's a Premier League job, something we never thought we were going to have. So we are going to have to bid a farewell to Bristol City completely out the blue. I wasn't planning to leave, I wasn't looking to leave, I wanted to get through this season. But the Premier League has come calling, and you don't know how many times in your career that's going to happen. We've had a couple of sublime performances on camera this season. The back end of last year was probably one of my favourite ever spells in the head coach. But just like that, it looks like we're going to be off. And given the fact we've played a game and the stage we're at already, that is going to be our next episode. We're going to start the negotiations here. We're going to get the job offer done. And then we will be back next time to take the Crystal Palace job. So let's start these negotiations. We want to try and get up to 30 grand a week. It's a 2-year deal, which isn't too bad at all. Don't really want the wage drop. If we can get it down to 25%, that's fine. Will they take it? They will. So from 7 grand a week to 13 grand a week in the space of a week for Bristol City. And now all the way up to 30 grand a week 2 weeks later as Crystal Palace offer the job. There it is. We are a Premier League manager. And our next episode will be meeting our new club. If you did enjoy this episode, it took a few twists and turns, but as it happens, we have ended up from what I thought would be quite a boring, a quite low-key half-century episode about a week or so ago in game, just as the international break started. We've come back with a blockbuster. At the 50 episode mark, we've got a massive win with Bristol City, and now we've been offered a Premier League job for the first time in our career. If you did enjoy it, please do chuck a thumbs up on it. Let me know in the comments what on earth you think of that. Do you think it's the right decision? Because whether or not it is, it's a job we couldn't turn down. And that's the simple fact of the matter. If you want to stay up to date and meet the Palace squad in a couple of days' time, please do subscribe down below and turn that notification bell on to make sure you don't miss a thing. In the meantime, we've got Hemel Hempstead, our one club story, back tomorrow at 3:30 PM. That one if you prefer the loyalty side of FM. And of course, you can catch up with all the other playlists, the podcast channel, and the Twitch for regular live streams up in the eye above. But what a way to bring it up, eh? The 50 knock is back with Premier League football, and episode 51 will be an introduction to our new club. I'll see you next time to find out what the Palace squad is like, and whether we can get a result in our first game in charge. I'll see you there.